God bless God's people on this wonderful Wednesday evening. Welcome to another inspirational moment with PLS, better known as Pastor Lankford Stephens of Bearing Fruit Outreach Ministries. Greetings to God's people on this Wednesday evening. I wanted to engage you for a few minutes of your time on this evening as we look around in this world. We're fighting international warfare as well as individual warfare and spiritual warfare in our own lives. God has given me a word for his people on this Wednesday evening on inspiration. I want to jump right into it and just give you some insight and some encouragement as we go through the spiritual warfare that's in the atmosphere of the earth right now. Some of us don't know what to do, but God in his word always gives us a way right to victory. And tonight we're going to talk about how we handle these spiritual warfare incidents in our life, whether it's international or whether it's individual. David addresses both, and I want to start by going to Psalms chapter 43, verse 1. And I want to say that this is David's international perspective abroad. And then I'm going to go to Psalms 26 and 1, which is David more explaining his individual spiritual warfare that he's dealing with as well. And I want to encourage you tonight. Let's go to Psalms 43 and 1. And it says this. David says, "Vindicate me, O God, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation. Oh, deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man." Let's turn over to Psalms chapter 26, verse 1, where David also says, which is more of a personal, individual perspective. He says, "Vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have also trusted in the Lord. I shall not slip." Well, tonight I want to repeat that. David said, "Vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have also trusted in the Lord. I shall not slip." I like the end of that verse. David said, "I shall not slip." I want to talk from the subject on inspiration. We don't fight for victory. We fight from victory. We don't fight for victory. We fight from victory. Let's get into my notes. My beloved brother and sister, every day there is a spiritual battle going on around us. It will continue to happen until the Lord returns in all his glory. So how do you enter into that battle each day? What mindset do you have? When the Christian enters the battle, they don't fight for victory. I need you to hear me. They fight from victory. In these Psalms, we see a different battle mindset. This is the mindset that the battle really belongs to the Lord. Why would I get afraid if I know who has already won the battle? Why would I get anxious about what will happen next if I know what ultimately happens? For those who trust, according to the word, in the Lord, there is great hope and deliverance. My brother and sister, you and me, you have dominion over your little world, your family and your workplace, your community, and the spheres of influence you actually occupy. And the degree to which you exercise that dominion that has been given to us. The degree to which you enforce Christ's victory in those spaces determines the expansion of his kingdom right now. This, my brother and sister, is not passive. This is active. This requires you to show up, to take a stand, to make decisions based on who Christ is and what he values, even when it costs you and me. When you lead your family with intention, you're enforcing Christ's dominion in that space. When you act with integrity in your workplace, instead of participating in corruption, you're reclaiming territory for the king. That king is Jesus. When you create something beautiful in the arts to the glory of God, instead of joining the celebration of darkness, you're declaring that Christ reigns in that place. When you speak truth in education, instead of accepting lies, you're enforcing the victory. When you stand for justice in government and the military, instead of accepting that that's just how power works, you're challenging the occupation. These are what I call acts of cosmic significance. In other words, they matter. They expand the territory of Christ's dominion. And here's the promise to us as believers. As you exercise dominion faithfully, God gives you more territory, a bigger life, a greater fear of influence. Not because you are accumulating power for yourself, but because a faithful steward receives more to steward for the master. So tonight on Inspiration, I don't know what you're facing. I don't know what battle you're in right now, my brother and sister. I don't know what pressure you're under. I don't know what compromise you're being offered. I don't know what cost you're being asked to pay for standing up for what's true. But I know this. I need you to hear me. You're seated with Christ far above the powers arrayed against you. You carry his authority. You have access to his strength. The victory is already won. I need somebody to hear me. The victory is already won. The only question is whether you will enforce it in your little world, whether you will exercise the dominion he's given you, whether you will let his character flow through you as you face what's in front of you. You don't have to win. I need you to hear me. Why? Because he's already won. You just have to be faithful. You just have to show up. Not just show up, but show up aligned with him. You just have to refuse the shortcuts and stand even when it costs you. Because the King Jesus, is seated. The dominion is his. And as you exercise authority, align with him, his kingdom expands and your territory grows. Your life deepens and the occupation against you slowly retreats. My brother and sister, I say tonight that the Lamb of God has conquered the world. Now rise up and enforce his victory in your world. I want to say in closing that when you're fighting, as I said, from victory, we don't fight for victory, we fight from victory. And when you're fighting for victory, I want to put three thoughts in your mind tonight. When you're fighting for victory, number one, you must know that you're dealing with a finished work. What do you mean, Pastor? Jesus declared in the word, when he was on the cross, he said, "It is finished," meaning redemption, healing, and triumph were already secured. Number two, standing firm. Instead of trying to earn or achieve a win through human effort, our role is to stand our ground and enforce what Christ has already done. My last point is resting in faith. Facing daily struggles comes from a place of peace and assurance rather than panic and defeat. We don't fight for victory. We fight from victory. I said in an earlier Proverbs this week, God will always manifest victory through forgiveness and not revenge. We must know as believers, as we fight the warfares of the world or in the world, and the warfare, spiritual warfares we're fighting in our individual lives, we have already won. We must continue to stand firm and just let the process play out, because God will show up and show off and stand down and put down any enemy that comes against his word in us. We don't fight for victory. We fight from victory. God bless you. This has been another inspirational moment from PLS, better known as Pastor Lankford Stephens of Bear Fruit Outreach Ministries. Until we speak again, you take this one and make it personal for you, and so would I. God bless you and take care.